Hello, and welcome to episode 57 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey, and joined with me, as always, is the fine wine himself, Philip Hoy.
Merry Christmas! It's the 1st of December, lads. I can say that now. Merry Christmas, guys.
It's acceptable now at this point, isn't it? You know, like, we opened the calendars today, it was feeling quite festive, quite cheery, and we started discussing the possibility of putting up decorations with the 4-year-old. And my wife raised that with me last weekend, and it was a quick shutdown. It's November. What are you talking about? It's miles away. And then here we are, and it's Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, we got the sexy elf himself. We got Spencer Davis in the house. How you doing, mate?
I like the rhyme. I'm not sure how I feel about being called an elf. But speaking of Christmas, I did give myself a nice early Christmas present, as the listeners might have noticed last episode. How's my audio? Ooh, I got the full kit. Never need to upgrade again. Christmas came early, boys.
Well done, mate. Well done. Me and Phil have been rocking the Shores for a little while now. I think we've had them for most of this year, haven't we, Phil? I think we got them around, like, you had yours first. I got mine then in, I don't know, like April time or something, I think.
Yeah, I pulled the trigger, and then I think you followed quite quickly after that.
Yeah, it's such a step up. It's going to be lovely to hear you, and to hear your dulcet tones, you know, emanating in. Oh, to be just around you right now must just be miraculous. Because you're looking good as well, Spence, gotta say. We're throwing out a lot of nice compliments at the start of this. Phil, you're always looking good. You know, you're the fine wine. But Spence, you're looking like you've put in real effort today. And Damn, I didn't deserve it. Now, guys, we always start the show with a question. And today's question is going over to yourself, Phil. I think it's your turn to bring it over to the group on this one.
Okay, it's come round to me once again, and I've got a question for you, lads. So if you're going to replace a celebrity for one day only, and live their life exactly the way they would, but it's you, who would it be and why? And Spencer, you can't pick the head of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, because you've already used that one, okay? So you can't just pick someone rich and just go around spending money. I just want experience here. So I'm going to go over to Davey and give you a little bit of thinking time. So Davey, who are you picking and why?
Biggest question, and this is the deal breaker on this. Is time travel allowed in this? And I mean, like, could I go back to someone's peak?
I'm going yes with this because I know who I'm picking, and I wouldn't want to live his life now.
I think my answer probably would have been the same, regardless if I could or couldn't. Just because I kind of want to be close to this person, and I haven't had the opportunity to do it. I don't know if I'd be a bit of a threat to him if I did get the opportunity. Like, it would be, I'd kind of be dicing with it a little bit. Like, I'd be that obsessed that it's not going to go well, probably, for him. Great for me. And that, my celebrity would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I would want to go back to the 80s, like, after he's done Predator, where he's just absolutely just best shape ever, and he's just smoking cigars and just ragging it about in a giant, massive Jeep. And he's just literally, you know, it's just like that video where he's like, I smoke my stogie wherever I want. Not you. You can't smoke your stogie where you want. And he's like laughing about them to people where he's smoking a massive fuck off cigar. You could just do that and just, you're on top of the world. The highest paid star in Hollywood. Just absolutely living the dream. Sure, that day would have to be an off day. Because I ain't spending my day in the gym, that's for damn sure. I'll be going around, revving it around, just in the Jeep, just smoking cigars as Arnie. What a life, man. What a life.
So you're picking that day rather than, you know, when he was the governor of California and he was basically ruling that part of the world, lording it above everybody and making decisions at that point, right? He was a bit more influential, I think, in those days than he was maybe as a film star. So you're picking a day after he's finished filming.
Yeah, so say Predator's out. Maybe I'd go after Terminator 2. That's probably when he's at his biggest. So, you know, I'd go in the early 90s and go for it then. I think that's what I'd do. Because I think with Governor, how much can you really do in one day? You know, it's not like as if you've got the nuclear launch codes there. It's not like you could be like, right, well, let's fuck shit up. Let's see what happens. Right, and just, you know, hit buttons. You can't. Like, what's the worst you could do? You could be like, you attend a meeting. And you say, right, I'm thinking about putting this bill together so that I can do X, Y, Z. Like, I don't know, free ice cream every Tuesday. And they're like, all right, brilliant. We'll see you back here tomorrow to discuss this with the rest of the crowd. And you're like, can we do it today? And they're like, sorry, people's schedules don't match. You're like, God damn it, what can I influence today? And they're like, I don't know, maybe you could change the day people pick up the bins. You know, what really are you going to be able to do in a day? I know like how much bureaucracy there is to get anything done in just like a normal organization, let alone the government, who are absolutely useless. Even with the governor running it in California, I bet they were still trash. But yeah, that's where I'd go with this. That I've got nothing else I'd want to do over the day apart from just live in that man's skin. And that's probably the most psychotic thing I think I've ever said in my entire life. What about yourself? What about yourself, Phil? I'll pass it back to you straight away. Give Spence more of that time to really sit on it a little bit.
Okay, well, I thought long and hard, seeing as I came up with this question this morning. Spent most of my day dreaming about what I could be and what I could have done for a single day. And I was thinking, I used to be a bass player when I was a bit younger. I say that in a very loose term. I was in a band. We played around Caldecott. We had a few gigs in Bristol and the High Life out in Cardiff. Major gigs, right? And we got paid with beer. And those days were some of my best days. We really, really enjoyed ourselves doing that. So I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to live Dave Farrell's life for one day? And for those who don't know, that's Phoenix from Linkin Park, okay? So to live his life for one day when Linkin Park were at the top of the top. They were the biggest rock band in the world at a certain point, and that must have been incredible to go on stage, sing those songs with every single person in the crowd singing straight back at you, but be the bass player, be the cool one at the back, you know, not taking too much of the limelight. You're there just to enjoy it and see it and experience it. And I think that would be my choice for the single day. But I probably wouldn't want to live his life all in all, because I quite like my life. I really do. I'd probably want to come back, work where I work, and do the podcast with you boys. I probably wouldn't want to leave this just yet. I feel like we're onto something good.
You're really covering your ass there as well. You're really covering your ass, because just to let you know, I'd bin it all off. If someone said to me, oh, you could be Arnie now for the rest of your life. Like, you know, you can go back to the 80s and you can live as Arnie did. You can do those movies that you know so well. You can do the acting in that, or acting in that. Bye, guys. See your family. See your Cass. I'm off to go make some other kids. I'm off to go make Patrick Schwarzenegger or whatever. He's a good-looking lad. So, yeah, see you later, guys. You know, bye. If that opportunity comes up and you see me, I'll be there doing a meme from the 80s that you'll find out about in, like, 2020, and it would just be me saying about in PS we trust, and you guys be like, hold, wait a minute, Arnie. And I'll do a sly wink.
Well, unfortunately, Davey, I make the rules on this question, and it was for a single day, so you're stuck with us. Unlucky. Right, Spence, before we hear more about Davey's little fantasy here of being Arnold Schwarzenegger for the rest of his life, because it's not very much longer, is it? Come on, he's on the out. Spence, who you've got from us?
Right, well, I appreciate you boys giving me so much time. I didn't need it. As soon as you ticked off Jeff Bezos, I knew immediately. And you said money. I couldn't just send myself all the money, which is what I would have done. 100%. 100%. We'd have been living large, boys. But as soon as you ruled that out, I thought, who would I like to be? Lads, Pete Davidson. That fella, every girl
I kind of know
in the
who he
world.
is.
So
I
smart.
kind of know who he is.
He has
that's so smart.
the most amount of riz in the world. There's not a single woman in the world who hasn't fancied him for some reason. Every girl he's ever been with has been a worldie. Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, two completely different women, both want him.
But Spence, it's only for
Hold
a
on.
single day. So which day
Yeah.
are you picking?
He's single right now, so I'd pick today, and I'd spend the day just going around town.
Going through his phone, texting all the girls back.
Yeah, going straight through his phone, straight on his Snapchat.
This is blowing my head. So Ariana Grande, he's got with her as well. Is there anyone like who's actually stunning that he hasn't been with at this point? It's like as if he's like absorbing their like lush energy to like keep himself young, like forever young. Because I don't know how the fuck he's doing it. Because he's not exactly a great looking guy. Sure, apparently he's hung, right? But you've got to get past that, and people find him funny. I mean, is that enough? Being funny and massive cock? Is that all you need? Like, as if I don't have either of those things. So, I mean, this is why I'm not getting worldies. Oh, dear God. That's so smart, Spence. That's such big brain. I hadn't even considered it.
Yeah, I'd literally just spend that day to learn. I'd just learn. I'd read through all his texts. I'd read through everything. his transcriptions of his phone calls, everything, and just try to figure out how he does it, how he is the way he is. I'd spend the day just educating myself.
So you could come back better. So we'd see a better Spencer then, would we?
Exactly, mate. I wouldn't be on this show. I'd be off in town. Tell you now, Friday night, we record these. Gone.
So I'm the only one coming back to the show after my day of enjoyment playing bass for Linkin Park.
Yeah, you're back. Whereas Spence, all that would happen is he'd take one look down at those trousers, right? See that monster that's apparently down there? And that's your day, Spence. I don't think you'd do anything else. I think you'd be like, Jesus Christ, this is so novel. You wouldn't even text anyone else. You'd just send yourself some pictures. You're like, Jesus, this thing's insane.
Just look in the mirror.
It must be such a weird... Yeah, it must be wild. Like when there's always like a body swap film, and they always do a thing where like, the woman will say to the guy when they swap bodies, like, don't do it. And they're like touching their boobs or whatever. That's the first thing you do straight away is you get in the mirror. And then depending on what the result is, you'd either be like, you don't move for a while, or you're straight back out, clothes on, and you think, oh, well, fuck it. It's the same kind of situation I've got going on in my body. Like it's going to be one of the two. You're either going to be like in awe, or you're going to be kind of disappointed, I suppose.
The issue is, I think if you're in awe and you only have a day, I don't think you're in awe. I think you're pissed off because you've got that immaculate horse schlong for a day, and then you're like, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to my little shrimp bit.
You've tasted a little bit of the good life, just for that moment, haven't you? To what life could have been like if you weren't cursed with the little noodle.
little ramen, mate, yeah.
It is funny that all my questions tend to start off quite innocent, but we always turn it back round to cocks and money.
That's what makes the world go round. Well, Phil, that was a fantastic question. I really enjoyed that. But I tell you what I also enjoy, a beverage. Think about that for a transition, guys. That was clean, wasn't it? Nice. Feeling on my A game today. Speaking of A game, what are you bringing to the table? Spence, what are you drinking?
Well, currently, and I'm sad to say, I'm drinking Thatcher's Haze, which is a lovely beverage. Lovely. I love drinking it. It's what I always get. However, it's my last can. It's the only can I have. I found it in the back of my mini fridge. I didn't even know it was there. I reached to grab a different drink, and it was there. I was buzzing.
How mini is this mini fridge if you couldn't see it in the fridge? It's got to be pretty big for you to lose things in the mini fridge, right?
It's quite small, but it's long. You can fit quite a lot.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. But I've reached down from where I am. I can't see into it. So I just stuck my arm in there, and there was a can that was bigger than the other cans. So I was like, oh, what? Pull it out. Cheeky little cider. Love that. But it is my last. And then moving on from that, I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol. I'll be drinking.
It's like Narnia, his fridge. He reaches down and just into a different universe.
I got a crate of Coke Zero Cherry that I can't put in the fridge because I turn it off when I record. So lukewarm Coke Zero Cherry, and that's what I'll be enjoying tonight.
I remember, and I could be wrong about this, I could be thinking about it wrong, but I'm pretty sure I got roasted when I said about I was having a Coke Zero, like a Coke Zero Cherry or whatever. I'm pretty sure, it was a while ago, I'm pretty sure I got the absolute piss ripped out of me for that. So what has dragged you down to this level when you could have had a Pepsi Max Cherry, which as we know is infinitely better?
It is infinitely better, and it's my missus that has dragged me down to this level. There was a deal for 2 crates for like £6 maybe, so crates of like 12 cans. I wanted Pepsi Max Cherry, but I didn't get a say in the matter. But lady's always right, isn't she? So that's what happened. Plus, those cans, they're quite easy to fit in the mini fridge. So it worked out, I suppose, but Pepsi Max, I'd rather that.
If it keeps the missus happy, I suppose that's something. But she's done you dirty, mate. She's done you. I'll put that out, public knowledge. She's fucked you over there. What about yourself, Mr. Hoy? What are you bringing to the table?
I need something to wash my mouth out because I feel sick that Spencer has lowered himself to be drinking a Coke. What even is a Coke Zero? Where did it even come from? I'm 38 now, right? What is Coke Zero? Explain to me what Coke Zero is.
It's just Coke with zero sugar. Zero added sugar, I should say.
So, not Coke. Coke, the
Basically.
good thing about Coke is it's full of sugar and it's lovely to drink. So Coke without sugar isn't Coke.
Yeah, trust me, we've had this conversation before, and Coke is an abysmal soft drink anyway. It's bad compared to others, and then you take out the sugar, it's the worst of the worst. It's the worst soft drink you can have. The cherry helps, but really, no. It's still trash, but I got nothing else to drink, so.
Fountain Coke's good. You know, like when you have a McDonald's, a fountain Coke tastes different. I think that's like a different level. Do you know, I saw this video. I don't want to derail it too much. But I saw this video, and it was this New York diner, right? And they served Coke the old school way, where it's a syrup, right?
Oh, and they mix it with the spoon?
They hit it. And I was like, oh my God, I bet that tastes lush. And someone in the comments was like, it's really exactly the same as having it from a fountain. It's like, oh, well, fuck off, mate. It's different, all right? It's going to taste different. Surely it's going to. Don't spoil my fun. But I would love that, to go in somewhere and they do like, oh, do you want a Coke? They're like, yeah. And they just make it themselves. That's so baller.
Well, if you think about it, Coke in every form tastes different, right? Coke from a can tastes different from Coke from a bottle. Coke from a bottle, you can't catch your lip hair in, because you can with the can. And then Coke from a glass bottle, that's top tier Coke. That's what the posh boys are drinking.
That's the best Coke.
Best one.
Yeah, that kind of stuff hits so different. Milk's kind of similar in a way. Like, I think that what it was when I was a kid, right? Don't know if you've ever done this, but when I was like, I don't know, 10,
where are you getting your
11.
milk from? Here we go.
No, nothing crazy.
He's going to be telling us he still drinks breast milk.
Like Spencer was. No. When I was like 10 or 11, something like that, we'd go out, climbing trees or whatever, and then we'd stay around a mate's house, and then, what it's like, you'd go out and you'd wander the streets for some ungodly reason at like 4 a.m, just because you can, I suppose.
We've
like a
all
little
been
bit
there.
of freedom. Don't know what you're doing. Yeah,
Didn't have mobile phones in those
stuff,
days.
Whatever
You
you're
had to
doing.
fill our time with something.
No. Yeah, exactly. And what would happen is we'd be out late enough that the milkman would be doing his rounds. So what you do is you just nick the milk straight off someone's doorstep. Wouldn't think about it.
That was
now.
you, was
Like,
it?
If that happened to me now. If that happened to me now, I would be livid. Like, absolutely, if I couldn't have my coffee in the morning because some little shit nicked it off my front door, I'd be savage. Absolutely savage. Didn't think about it at all. Didn't even remotely care as a kid. But that milk, it was out of a glass bottle. You had to break it. It was somebody else's milk. Tasted so good. It was astronomically better than every other milk I've ever had in my life. The best. Top tier milk, that.
And Davey, do you know what? Karma is a bitch, because who nicked some sweets from your house at Halloween? Some kids walked along and they saw them outside and they thought, do you know what, we're going to have those. And they nicked a whole box of sweets off the front of your lawn. And I bet they tasted amazing. And they're going to be on a podcast in like 10, 15 years going, do you know what the best sweets are? Free sweets that I find outside someone's house.
That's true. It's so true. It's definitely my own fault. I don't even know why we got onto that. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just derailing us like out of nowhere. Talking about fucking Coke that you get from someone baking it onto milk. Jesus Christ. Oh. So, sorry, Phil. What are you actually drinking today? Apart from us lambasting Spence for his poor drink decisions.
Well, I'm glad we took it off the rail a little bit, purely because I'm not drinking anything particularly interesting tonight. I've got a works party tomorrow, so I'm keeping this one sober. I've had a cup of tea and now I'm on the council pop. Just drinking a bit of water at the moment.
Fair dues. Tap water, or have you gone through the Breville?
Oh, mate, it's just tap water here. We're not that posh. Come on. We're not getting it from the hills of Evian.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know about Spencer down in Newport. I don't know about you, but over here in where I live, it's quite a soft water. So there's like no lime scale. It's good quality H2O, right? Whereas when I go back down towards Caldy and go to Mum's, their water's it's getting a little bit rough. And then when I've gone to Bristol to my mother-in-law's, fucking hell. It's like it like coats the back of your mouth, all this water. It's like minging. So you really need to invest in a Breville. I think if any of our listeners, if you've got a Breville, if you rate it, put your suggestions in for the make and model that Phil should get for his water purification tablets. And I want to hear about this on the next episode, Phil. Maybe this is a Black Friday, maybe a Christmas present. I'll get you a Breville. That's getting a bit old, isn't it?
I've just acclimatized myself to the water. You're just a posh boy pussy. You're coming over to Bristol, drinking our water, going, this water's too hard. I can't take this. No, you got to man up. You got to drink more of it, get yourself through the pain barrier, and then learn to love it.
That's the thing, isn't it? You just, no matter what happens to you in life, if you just accept that's the hand you dealt with, then you get on with it, don't you, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm on the water tonight. Davey, what are you drinking?
Guys, I came into this with options. I got no work tomorrow. The wife's giving me a lie-in, so I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to have breakfast with my son. So I'm a free man. And I got alcohol. Beer alcohol. The issue is, though, it's Strongbow. I don't really want a Strongbow. Like, if it was anything else, if it was any type of lager or any other kind of cider, I'd be in. But Strongbow, base Strongbow, like not dark fruits, not any of the other kinds of Strongbow, general basic bitch Strongbow is tragically bad. And it's only good when you've had already like 10 other pints of other stuff. And then you go into a pub and they say, we got Strongbow, mate. Is that all right? And you think, oh, fuck it. Yeah, go on. And that's the only time it's okay. So this is one of those things that I'd need a crate full of other alcohol, and then the Strongbow will get drunk as well. But yeah. But because of that, because of my lack of alcohol standards, I've gone for a Kenko Rich today, which is a lovely coffee. Kenko Rich. And the way I think about it is that if you want to be rich, you've got to make sure that everything's rich. So my biscuit game is a rich tea. My sausages, Richmond's. Kenko Rich. Everything I get in is going down this avenue now. So if you find another product that has rich in it somewhere, let me know. And I'll have to add it to my my shopping basket. Keep an eye out. And if you spot any, let me know. Listeners, if you notice any products out in the wild world that have rich in there somewhere, let me know. pswetrust@gmail.com. And I'll add it to my basket. Now let's move it on. Fuck's sake.
You said it so creepy.
I know, I wanted to do it like that that meme where it's like,
add it to my basket.
I'll put that in my basket. Do you remember that
said
from
it
a few
so
years ago?
weirdly. I know the meme, yeah, but you didn't even say it like that.
I know, I kind of like
I'll
half
add it
committed
to
to
my
it.
basket.
I kind of half committed to it and then walked it back. Terrible. Let's move it on to what we've been playing.
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
So guys, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast episode, and I'm desperate to know what you've been up to in that time. Spencer, I'm going to come across to yourself. It is tradition we start with you. Lay it on me.
I'll preface this by saying my dog is on an absolute mad one. He's had way more beverages than me. This is why I only had one cider left. He's been on it all night. He is on a mental one. So if my dog is in the background like he is right now during this sentence, then he will not shut up. Then I apologize, listeners, but just bear with it. It won't happen all night, I hope. It might. It actually might. But I'll save the big game I've been playing until the end, because I imagine we're all going to talk about it. So the main games I've been playing, I played a little bit of Heavenly Bodies, which is a co-op or single-player game, exclusively local co-op. It doesn't have online co-op. And I played it for about 10 minutes with my girlfriend, where within 10 minutes, she's just said, this is a you and Davey game. And what she means by that is it's just too hard, even though it's 2 buttons and 2 sticks. That is the whole game. She just didn't care to learn the simple controls and immediately just said, I'm not playing this. You play it with Davey. I refuse to play it with you. And I was like, bless. Fair enough.
So, Spence, Heavenly Bodies, if I remember right here, this is the 2-player co-op space game, right? Where it's like kind of physics-based puzzles. Is that how it works?
It's definitely physics-based puzzles. There's zero gravity because you're in space, obviously, and you're just trying to repair your ship. So you're just going around zero grav. All you can do is you can tuck in your legs, so you can squeeze through smaller gaps, and you can move your arms. And then you grab with R2 and L2, and that is it. That is literally it. You can grab anything. So you got to just pull yourself along and chuck each other into places to try and get them to the next part, chuck each other stuff and just hope you catch it. It's really hard. As much as I dig on her because she kind of gave up easy, I think you and I, Davey, when we play this, if we ever do, I imagine we will soon, it's hard. It's actually really hard, but we'll power through. God-given gamers. We'll get to it.
That sounds really fun, to be fair. Was that the PS Plus offering from last month?
It was, mate. Yeah, that game has actually been on my list since they first showed it, I think. And I said, that's a me and Davey game. And I pointed out to you saying, we'll play that soon. And we kind of just forgot about it for a long time. I don't know if anyone bought it. I don't know how well it's done. But we got it for free last month. So immediate download. You and I went to play it the other night. However, we've discovered it was local co-op. So it didn't happen. So I ended up playing it with my missus, and that is the extent of it, unfortunately. I would like to play more of it in the future when you and I get together for something. But that's it for now. The other games I'm playing, Dead by Daylight, Call of Duty, not an awful lot to say, really. I'll mention a game that I will be playing when I'm done with the big game. And that's a game that I had shipped through the post yesterday. Black Friday deals. We mentioned them last episode. I've got one more. It's probably gone now. Probably finished. But it's one that I snatched. And that was Alan Wake Remastered. Davey, I know you have this, and I could have borrowed it. But I thought, I really like Alan Wake. I've got it on PC. Thought I'd quite like to own it. And it was £10 on Amazon, I think. Or like $12.99. It was really cheap. Really cheap.
That is good. I mean, this is one of those things that we've all got. And this might be actually the topic that I do on the next episode, I'm not sure. But we've all got different sins from this year for games that we've bought or games that we wanted to get to and we just haven't had time. And Alan Wake's been that for me. I've still got it wrapped up there. I bought it on, like, when it first came out for the PS5, when it came out for this remaster. Bought it then. And, just haven't played it. Just haven't had the chance. So, that's definitely one that I'm hoping I'll get to with the next ranked for next year, if that even happens, which I don't think it will. But, there we go. Well, I'd love to chat to you about Call of Duty or Dead by Daylight, but I think we've gone through those games more times than I can possibly count. So we'll move it over to Mr. Philip Hoy and see what he's been up to over the last 2 weeks.
Well, lads, talking of games we haven't played, I haven't been playing Stray. And I haven't been playing Wayne Gretzky's ice hockey, unfortunately. And I haven't set up my Xbox 360 to play Dead Island Riptide, unfortunately, either, because a little thing's been on TV called the World Cup. And I'm big into my football. I love it. And I've pretty much watched every single match. So unfortunately, outside the big game, which I'm assuming it's the same big game that we're all talking about and we're all playing, I haven't played any other games. Not even a game of League of Legends, not even one game of League of Legends. I've just been fully invested in the World Cup. But we had a little question that went out to our listeners, our viewers, last episode when we recorded all together in my dining room. We did a live episode, and I was very grateful. I say that in a very loose way, that the lads clubbed together and for my birthday bought me Dead Island Riptide Collector's Edition, which included this, a beautiful statue of a body in a bikini. And we asked you to name her. And I know we had quite a few people email in. We had a few people on Twitter and a few people reach out just in the street. They shouted over. They said, "Hey, Phil, you want to name her X?" But I'm happy to let you know that we have chosen a name. Dun, 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 dun. I present you Sherry.
Welcome to the show, Sherry.
Welcome, Sherry. You are one of the most discussed guests we've ever had. We've been talking about you for about 30 episodes before you came on the show. Lovely to meet your acquaintance.
Shake your hand if you had one.
Yeah.
And Sherry is going to start to do a tour around all our houses. So at the moment, and I think probably for the rest of this year, she's going to be sat up on my shelf behind me. So I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 episodes left after this one. So you'll see her behind me. And I think next year, I'm going to pass the buck. Davey, you're going to have her for a little bit, and then Spence, you're going to have her for a little bit as well, and we'll do the tour. We'll do the Sherry tour.
All right, only for one, couple of months, and then I want it back in your permanent residence, please, because there's, when Spence's birthday comes up, I got some ideas. For Spence's background, so I don't want it to be a case that we're revolving all these things. She's a home girl. She misses being home, and I don't want to take that away from her, Phil. So she'll be coming straight back onto that, and she looks great there. She looks like she was always destined to be there. So
she's the right size for my shelf. She only just
she
fits
is
in the IKEA shelf here. You get a nice view there, don't you? Just behind
She's
me.
so snug.
Perfect.
I gotta ask, mate. You do your office meetings or like your online meetings with this camera, right?
I do, yeah.
So that's there.
Oh yeah, but we blur all our backgrounds when we do Zoom meetings, so you don't get to see my background.
Everyone does that. I don't understand why people do that.
Yeah.
Enough.
So
That's a shame.
I'm very safe because there is quite a lot of stuff behind me that isn't the most professional, I suppose, when I'm talking to people all across the world about marketing. So yeah, having something like that behind me, I'm sure will, solidify their thoughts about me.
Early warning signs are always a nice help, though, aren't they? And if they had that there, they might think, might save some problems later on. So, guys, the big game we're going to be talking about, and there's no point me really going through anything else. There's a couple of games that, just to tick it off, just to let you know, that I could talk about, but, and I suppose the big one in this is I could talk through the Resident Evil 8 DLC that I played, Shadows of Rose. Phil was talking about it, and he really enjoyed it a couple of episodes ago. I think he gave it like an 8 out of 10 rating, which is, really, really good. I went in, I've played it. Unfortunately, guys, I put a review up on it. So I got like 22 minutes of me talking through my thoughts. So save you guys having to go through that on the podcast. I'll bin that off. I'll leave that for the moment. It's on my YouTube if you want to view it. Let's get on to talking about what we actually do want to talk about here. And that is, as you were saying, the big game itself, God of War Ragnarok. Now, I want to know how far you've got into the game and your updated thoughts, if any, since the last time. Spence, might as well just kick it back to you.
Okay, so I am probably still the person on the show with the least amount of game time in God of War. I've actually only managed to play it one more time, or like one session since, and that session wasn't especially long. It was maybe like 2 hours, so I'm roughly 8 hours into the game. And the issue is, I could mainline it and just get it done in time for us to do a spoiler cast, or get it done next 2 weeks, or next week, I suppose. I don't want to do that. This is a special game. This is a very special game. I refuse to mainline it. So I've just been doing side stuff. As much as I'm 8 hours in, I'm probably not that far in the story at all. But loving it still. Even so, only 8 hours in, still adore the game. I can't wait to get back to it.
Fair dues. I think that last time, when I saw you playing it last, I think you were in Alfheim, which isn't a spoiler. It's really early on. So yeah, you got quite a bit ahead of you, quite a bit of a road. But I think what you said there is really true. We do this for fun, this podcast, believe it or not. It doesn't feel like that when you're in the editing suites. But when you're doing this part of the show, it is fun. And ultimately, as great as it would be for content to be able to pump out a God of War spoiler cast and have it done and have it out there right now while the game's at its highest, that's... God of War Ragnarok's a really special game, like you were saying. And to really kind of rush through and artificially blast it, you're not going to get the same experience if you just took your time and just enjoyed the journey. And I'd much prefer you to just enjoy it rather than sacrifice doing that for the sake of, a couple of hundred, subs or whatever, or, thousands of pounds of income. So, but is what it is. But no, I think you made the right decision there. I don't know if you agree with that, Phil.
Yeah, because I'm kind of in the same boat with it all. And I know last episode we dreamt about the idea that we'd all be finished, ready for a spoiler cast. And, obviously we're just a day before now Callisto Protocol coming out. I believe that comes out tomorrow, and we'd all like to get deep into that game as well and talk about that on the podcast. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen because I've only done another 5 hours. As I said, the World Cup has taken up probably the majority of my time. So yeah, 20 hours into the game, still loving it, still it's still holding my attention. I'm not at a point where I need to take a break like the original game. And I do want to get it completed, but I am running out of time quickly. I go on holiday on the 9th, so I've got very limited time now before that holiday. And then of course, it's Christmas, so it's going to be at least in the new year before we can get anything out to you listeners and viewers. But I am enjoying the game. It is still a very, 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 very good game.
Well, guys, for me, I'm built from different stuff from you boys. I saw the World Cup, and the only 2 games I was interested in, or the only 3 games, and I wish I hadn't seen them, to be honest with you, were the Wales games. So outside of those, I haven't really been watching too much World Cup. I've watched a little bit, but I've watched like the odd game here and there, but I've not been as committed as you have, Phil. But due to that, I've managed to actually do it. I've managed to go through and get the platinum for God of War Ragnarok.
Ooh, that's a platinum.
52 hours it took me to achieve my platinum, and that 52 hours were literally, and I mean this, I know I'm always overhyping stuff, but I really mean this, some of the best 52 hours I think I've ever had with gaming. It was honestly the best game on the PS5 by a landslide. It's one of the best games I think I've played in, I don't know how long. It's better than Last of Us 2, I know that. It's one of the best games I think I've ever played in my life.
Returnal is finally dethroned.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's a moment, and I can't talk about it with you because of spoilers, but there's multiple moments, and you've got to really mute everything on Twitter when it comes to this game, because now I've completed it, I've unmuted everything, and it's everywhere, and people are sharing moments left, right, and center, so make sure you're muted. Because there's moments in this that when I was playing it through, my hype level, and Spencer knows this happens to me, but when I'm watching like some anime or something like that, and so things get really hype, the music's going, things are like happy things, I'll start just fucking blubbing, man. I'll be like, oh, this is so good, so hype. That happened like 5 times over this game. And then a few times from emotional crying as well. I honestly, this is, and especially for somebody who's a long-term Kratos fan, I've adored God of War since the first one. This is the culmination of everything Sony Santa Monica have been working for. And it blows, absolutely blows so many studios out of the water for what a sequel needs to do in terms of upping the game, in terms of just providing something that's true to the characters and just exceeding on every front. I've got literally no downsides for this at all. I couldn't give you one. Not one. It's a 10 out of 10, flawless game.
I hope it lives up to those expectations that you're setting for all of us now, Davey. Because, of course, I'm only 20 hours in. I'm loving the game. It's incredible so far, but you're telling me it doesn't dip?
I don't feel it does. There's one mission that I know a lot of people have an issue with. And I can see why people would. But I think it's one of those things, and you'll know it when you get to it. You'll know it 100%. But I think it's one of those things that if it wasn't there, it's kind of like Season 2 on like Attack on Titan or something, where it's not quite at the level of everything else. I know it's a very specific reference. But if it wasn't there, you wouldn't get everything else that comes after, you know? Like, you need to sometimes have a moment where it just slows down a moment, pumps the brakes, gives you a lot of information, gives you a lot of character, just takes its time, so then it can re-ramp. And there's one mission that's like that, and it lasts for maybe an hour. And I can see that being the only point that people bring up as they dropped off at that point. But you need it. It's kind of crucial there for everything else that comes after.
Interesting stuff. And when Davey says you need to mute people, you also need to mute Davey, because Davey starts sharing stuff about God of War and he knows where me and Spence are, and that is evil. You are an evil man, mate. As soon as I saw that on my Twitter timeline, I was like, shoo, 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 as if like someone had just caught me on porn on my phone. I closed that app so damn quickly. I did not want to get spoiled.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's one of those. There's these optional side content bosses. That's all it is. And it was just one I did flawlessly, and I was well proud of it. And so I put it online, and then I didn't get any feedback from anyone. I was thinking, like surely somebody must realize that this was nice, what I've done here. But then I realized that everyone's like fucking blinkered on. They don't want to see anything, and I would have been that guy as well. So I apologize. That was a faux pas on my end.
You see your follow account just depreciate. Blub, 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 blub. Everyone just leaves.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. It was a mistake on my end, so it won't happen again. I'll leave it until you guys have at least done it before I start, sharing some stuff. Because I got some spicy meatable clips. Oh, I got some nice ones, lads. So I'm looking forward to when you guys kind of catch up and we start going through the spoiler cast, and I can look at how you approach different combat scenarios. That's what I want to see. I think it's going to be so interesting to be able to see the differences there, because this is so open. This combat system is don't get me going, guys. Let's move it on. Let's move it on to quick news, guys. Unless anyone's got any other questions for God of War, and I'll try my best to not tail off. Nope.
Absolutely not.
I don't want to spoil it, mate.
I
You've
don't
already
want to know
said too
anything.
much.
Yeah, nothing.
Let's move it on.
So, guys, we have got to the quick news. And you know the rules by now, listeners. We each challenge each other to impressions, and the winner gets absolutely nothing. The loser gets a shot in the dock, and we'll be taking those drinks on the big blowout in a couple of episodes' time. Okay, so this time round, I'm going to be challenging people to do impressions of Simpsons characters. And I can see Spencer squinting. Feeling nervous. Uh-oh. Does he know Simpsons characters? I hope so. But, Davey, I'm going to throw it over to you first because you've got a new rule for the quick news.
I do. I thought we'd kind of deepen the lore. We've had quick news going in different formats for a little while now. And this time, the way it's crumbled, the cookie, is that me and Spencer had 3 stories to do, which means 3 separate impressions. And yourself, Phil, you've only got 2. Now, I can't have you getting off on an easy time. So, what we're going to do is, whoever has more in the quick news compared to everyone else, they get to strike 1. So, say, for example, we get to the ranking and we butcher. We know we've absolutely butchered one. The people that have more news stories than the person who has the least one can say, this one doesn't count, lads. And then you're only judging 2 each. So it's fair across the board then.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. There is advantages now to doing more, of course, but you can only strike them off once you've done the impression. We're not letting you get away with saying, I don't want to do the impression. You have to do the impression, and at the end, your worst one you could strike off. But it's your opinion on what's worse. So it actually raises the bar a little bit because we don't want to give it away that we think it's bad if it's really bad. Levels, boys. Levels.
Mind games opens up. The meta has shifted. Can't wait to see where this goes from here. The quick news meta, yeah. Someone's bound to be writing down somewhere. Someone's
updating our Wikipedia right now on the rules of quick news. Right. So, Spence, because you've had this time to think and compose yourself for a Simpsons impression, I'm going to throw you the biggest bone in the world, right? And it isn't a female character. I just want your best Homer Simpson. Super simple, bro. Come on.
All right, well, lads, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't watch The Simpsons. I've never really been a big Simpsons guy. All I know is Homer says one word very often whenever he messes something up, or whenever Bart does something wrong, or whenever... Sometimes when he's happy, I bet, as well. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly on the context, but all times he just goes, "Do!" And that's it. That's got to be my Homer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I know it's a big show. I apologize. Quick news. PlayStation tournaments on PS5 have officially launched since November 29th, 2022. These are the first official tournaments on the console, and they feature cash prizes and chances to win a DualSense Edge wireless controller or a Pulse 3D wireless headset. Now, these are basically games tournaments in which there'll be a select amount of games, and each of those games has a little for fun tournament that's free to enter. You can just enter it, and if you play the game, you can just kind of earn points, I think it is. And whoever has the highest points, no. Is it like an actual tournament?
No, so the way it works basically is that you've got a number of games that you can choose from. So the list as it currently stands, in looking on the PlayStation blog, is FIFA. Hold on, where is it now? I just got off the top of my head. It's FIFA,
Guilty Gear, NBA.
Guilty Gear. That's it. NBA 2K23. And the way it works is you sign up for the competition, for the what they call the Win-a-thon, and then between December 1st and January 31st, you basically just go on and compete on the leaderboards. And if you're top, or you're in the top for your region, for the leaderboards, for your most amount of wins and stuff like that, then you win prizes. And that's pretty much it at this stage. Now, I don't know if they're going to have even more tournaments to run alongside that, apart from just these leaderboard brackets. Not sure. But this is kind of the start of it. And the cool thing with this, the thing that I thought was super, super hype, as somebody who entered like the Mortal Kombat tournaments on the PS4 and stuff like that, is that all this is done through the console itself. So you can view on where you are on the leaderboard, you can sign up for it on there, it's auto sign in if you're already logged into your PSN. There's so much cool integration into the console itself that never used to be there on PS4. And whereas like the kind of spaces kind of died off on PS4, didn't they? Because they just weren't being used. This looks like something that actually will work. And I'm thinking when we get to Street Fighter 6, this is going to be baller for us. This is going to be really, really cool to be able to have this kind of built-in, integrated, and by then, all the kinks would have worked out. So I think we'll be coming to this kind of at the right time, rather than these kind of early adopters to it. But as you can tell, I'm really excited by this. I think this is a great little thing. What are your thoughts on it, Spence?
Well, I mean, it's just a free thing. Same as PS Stars. It's just something cool they're doing for competitive gamers, which is us. We've been competitive gamers for a long time. And like you said, Street Fighter 6 is hopefully around the corner. We don't know an actual date, but hopefully it's soon. And by the time it comes out, hell yeah, I would love to compete in these tournaments. I'd love to win a DualSense Edge, because am I buying one? Fuck no. That's an egregious price. But if I can get one for free, yeah, I'll play an extra few hours of Street Fighter more than usual, so I can try and compete. Sounds great. Phil, mate, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it sounds to me like they're putting effort into building a community. Would I be right there? This is PlayStation encouraging a community and rewarding a community. I think it's incredible, right? It's probably not a thing that I'm going to be too deep into, really. I'll probably compete at a few tournaments, possibly play a little bit into it, but ultimately it's not really focused on me. It's probably more towards you two boys more than myself. But I'm loving it. I'm loving that PlayStation are investing in the player base. It's cool. I'm all up for it. Brilliant.
Wow, a new PlayStation service, and Phil is on board. Listeners, surely you must appreciate how good the service is going to be then. Let's go.
I was going to say a 3 for 3. That like never happens with this. Whenever I think it's going to be a knockout, someone's always got an issue. So yeah, maybe this is the start of the services. And next thing you know, Phil, we're going to kick down the road and we'll be in PlayStation Home again. Who knows, mate? Who knows? VR 2, PlayStation Home 2. It could happen.
That's the dream. PlayStation Home. I'd love to go back to that. Those servers still running? No,
shut down a long time ago.
right.
Mate.
They're shut down, but there's a community. There's a community with their own server, and they're trying to bring everything back.
It was fun. It was fun. It was like one of those stupid things that when you had unlimited time, you could find something fun to do just to piss someone off or, whatever it was. There was always just something
Steal
going
their
on
milk.
in there. Yeah. Virtual milk. Just go around and nick it from the front of their apartment.
It's where you learnt to grief people, wasn't it, in PlayStation Home? It was like the precursor to a lot of kind of like internet community things where people would go and hang out. And I just remember part of the meta with PlayStation Home was trying to sit in the same spot. And you'd always just sit on someone or sit around someone and just really annoy them that way, right? And just find really pointless things to just try and annoy people. And I feel like that was the game in PlayStation Home, and I had a lot of fun.
And ultimately, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
It's true. So true. Part of what brought us together. Well, not really, but I suppose, it could have been. Who knows? So, moving on swiftly, because that was a terrible transition. Davey, coming across to you. Hang on. Simpsons characters.
How do you have to Google Simpsons characters?
Bro, I never.
Wild.
Any of the
watched
family
it.
is fine.
Well, nah, because I need you boys to give those to me. Because those are the easy ones. I can't go checking those about.
They're going to be quite hard, I think, a lot of these impressions to actually do. Because they're so well known that unless you've actually like practiced the impression, you can't really escape from this. Like, I think any of them is just going to be bad. I think they're all going to be terrible.
I totally agree. It's one of those things that like everybody knows, but I think everyone's bad at Simpsons impressions. I think even when you ask someone to do like Bart or like Homer, and like we all know those catchphrases apart from Spencer, for whatever reason, people always butcher them, so it's really funny. So yeah, have at it.
I found one. I might butcher the name. But Davey, I want to give you an impression of Apu Nahasapima Petilon. Who's the fella who wants to Kmart, isn't he?
Hello, Homer. What brings you into the Quickie Mart today? Quick news. The PS5 version of the game which can't be mentioned Village is compatible with PSVR 2. Now, the good news about this, the mega good news, is there's no need to wait for a VR version of the game to come out. So as soon as you get a PSVR 2 and chuck it on your head, apparently it's just going to work. Apparently you can just put the game in, reinstall it, and you can play a VR version. And that is going to be when I earn my platinum, boys. That is when I'm going to get it. I'm going to save it, not going to touch it again, going to play it through. Anyone interested in playing through any of the games which can't be mentioned in VR? In PSVR 2.
I would be if I had the headset and I had pre-ordered it like yourself, but I'm waiting for Half-Life Alyx. As soon as that baby's on the shelf, I'll be ordering it. You know they've got my money as soon as they announce that game for PSVR. But I know you've ordered it, Davey. You've put down the money, right?
Yeah, I basically I got into the position where my wife was like, "Oh, I'll buy you. I'll give you some money. What do you want?" And it was like, well, I said, "Oh, well, everything I want's quite expensive, really. I want either, the Dead Space Remake Collector's Edition, which with shipping was like 480 quid for a plastic bloody helmet. Absolutely insane price, to be fair. Or the VR." And she was like, "Oh, well, I'll get you VR." I was like, okay. So I had my email through from registering my interest in it from PlayStation. And I got to say, guys, it was the easiest pre-order thing ever. Now, I know we come off like as if we're right smug little dicks on this podcast because we got a PS5 easy, day one, wasn't even a struggle. And I got PSVR 2 now, no struggle at all. All that happened was an email came through, said, "Do you want to request your interest in this?" So I said, "Yeah, sure, request my interest." Then like a couple of weeks later, they say, "Oh, well, if you want to buy it, here's your 1 hour time slot. Log on at this time using this link, and you've got one." So, okay. Signed on at that time. Added the bundle, which comes with Horizon Call of the Wilds. Done. Check out. Sorted. So, yeah, day one edition, I'll be playing it through, so I'll be able to let you guys know the hot takes when it comes to PSVR 2. And anytime we guys get together, I'll bring it with. You could try it out before Half-Life Alyx comes out. But Spence, when it comes to the games that can't be mentioned on VR, is that interesting to you at all?
They are the sole reason I would buy one at the moment. They are the only reason, because 7 on the last PSVR looked exceptional, looked absolutely fantastic, and these are horror games, man. That's like such a fantastic genre for VR. And then imagine Village, it's been out long enough now, House Beneviento. Oh, in VR, hiding under the bed. Oh my god, you'd have to literally physically lie down. It'd be sick. You'd be looking up. You have to physically look up, be like, oh fuck. I think it'd be fantastic. It is the main reason I would buy a PSVR 2 at the moment, and the way it's looking, it might happen.
Spend a lot of time under that bed, don't you, Spence? When you're hiding from the hunters.
I do, mate. I do. This bed comes in clutch, always, except for impressions. Not good for that.
That's more your athletic ability rather than anything else. But speaking of, let's go to Mr. Philip Hoy. I want to have an impression, Phil, of Barney Gumble.
Barney Gumble. Okay, so Barney Gumble is the barfly that accompanies Homer to mow Sizzlax. And all he does is burp, right? That's kind of like his famous catchphrase, isn't it, really? He doesn't really do too much else, to my knowledge, right? Unless
he
he's like...
speaks, and he's got like a
he
really...
does speak.
He's got like just...
But he just goes... Burp! And he goes... Well, the top lip always goes... Burp! So I'll stick with that. Burp! Quick news. Okay, guys, so I got some updates on the Witcher 3 free next-gen update, Wild Hunt. This is going to include ray tracing, global illuminations on PC, Xbox Series, and PS5. We've got some high-quality textures hitting you with foliage, and we've got visual improvements in every single area. We've got photo mode, we've got performance and quality mode on PS5 and Xbox Series, as well as gameplay and combat improvements. So everything is getting a facelift for Witcher 3 come December 14th. Looking forward to that. Right, Spence, coming back round to you. Now, you didn't really know Homer's catchphrases, so how deep do we go with The Simpsons here? Would you know who Waylon Smithers is?
Smithers. I know the name Smithers, I think. Don't know what he sounds like. Can't see him top of my head. No. Just say no. No, I don't.
I think we could allow him to Google a picture of Waylon Smithers to kind of refresh his memory here. Would you agree with that, Davey?
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I know it goes against the rules of prep for quick news, but I'll allow it.
The only issue with that is that images don't really, depict sound. I don't know what he sounds like.
This is wild. This is like somebody not knowing who like Donald Duck is, but they know who Mickey is. It's like, it's just weird that you don't know who any of these characters are. Like, and we're not even like going down, he's not even like bringing in like the pirate or any of the old granddads or anything. This is like a core character. This is unreal.
He's been in
bro.
it forever as well. It's like every series. He hasn't left it. He's a primary character.
I think you're playing the game on this. I honestly do. I think that you got me thinking, and I've been down this rabbit hole ever since you didn't know who Stone Cold 316 is. I got a feeling that this is what you're playing on. The same way that like Phil didn't know who Ghost was, so he just did a random impression, but I really liked it. I think that's your way now that you're trying to do this.
Okay, guys, let's not make quick news too long here, right? We're going off track a little bit. So if you don't know who Waylon Smithers is, let's go back to the core family. So we've had Homer Simpson. Let's have Marge Simpson.
Again, one word. I can't do more than a word. But she goes like, what's she sound like? She goes like, Homer. Made me burp. That made me burp.
Homie.
Homie.
I don't know where you're
That's all I know.
leading that. It sounds very sexual to me. I'm getting a bit turned on. I don't know about you, Davey. Homie.
Homie.
I liked it. I love that. I love that impression.
All right, quick news. New report, Monster Hunter Rise, the game that was exclusively on the Switch, is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and is launching on Game Pass. And it's going to be coming in the form of 4K 60 FPS and will be releasing in January 2023. Davey, hang on, get back to my Google. Okay, my impression for you. Classic character, everyone knows him, everyone loves him, everyone except me. But I've heard of him before, so I got an idea. So I want to hear your best impression of Krusty the Clown.
Hey, 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 it's me, Krusty! That's the best you're going to get.
Brilliant.
That's the best you're going to get. I'm sorry, guys. Got some pretty weird news here. Now, I don't know how we're going to take this as a podcast, so I think this is going to be quite interesting to discuss. James Gunn. You know him for such hits as Suicide Squad, or I know him really for Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, if you didn't know, he's taken over kind of co-leadership, I suppose you'd say, for DC Studios going forward. So taking the reins of driving them now into the new future for the new universe, whatever that is. Now, he's come out on record and said that any future DC video games at Warner Bros. will be part of the larger connected universe that James Gunn is building. I want to know your thoughts on this, guys. I'm going to come across to yourself first, Philip Hoy. What do you think about that idea?
I don't love it. I really don't. And the reason I don't love it is because of what Marvel's done, right? We've got the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse these days. And then we have certain video games that link to it. And then we have certain video games that don't link to it. Not all of them are hits, of course. But some of them are, and they are brilliant. And I like diversity, and I think you should be able to do things that, you know, aren't just governed by one person, right? And when we're talking about video games, we're talking about movies, that transition doesn't always make sense. You know, where really has that ever made sense? You know? Like, I'm not talking specifically about the game that cannot be mentioned, but they always hash that up. So when we're talking about it from the other way around, when we're looking at movies and we're looking at video games, I just think that James Gunn maybe needs to not be so worried about video games and connecting every single dot there. That's just my opinion. I don't know about yourself, Spence.
I don't know. It just sounds stupid to me. Like, just silly. Let games be their own thing. Let movies be their own thing. Let shows be their own thing. And if they do connect, that's fine. But like you said, the MCU took years of just movies, and now they're branching into shows. All that. Whereas DC kicking off with video games. Do you know how long and narrative-driven video games are? There's so much more content in a video game than there is in a movie or a show. Linking it into everything. If they get a new director on board for a new DC movie now, they're going to have to play through all those games to make sure that it all links up, rather than have like one little discrepancy and everyone kick off on Reddit about it. It just sounds like a massive mess to me. I just can't imagine it happening.
And James Gunn's style is so specific as well. I think it's too strong to do something like this and do it that successfully. Because is every movie going to be a little bit jokey? You know, do you want that? I don't. And I'm quite glad that he's doing it over in DC rather than taking over Marvel.
I don't know, because I like DC. I do like DC, and their movies, some of them are good. The issue is the ones that try to be funny typically aren't, and the serious ones are good. And James Gunn kind of being the head honcho for this doesn't bode well for DC movies. They should just admit that they're different from the MCU and just do their own thing rather than try and be a copycat. It doesn't work for them. And they've seen success in different aspects being serious movies. Why don't they just stick to it? Literally just sack James Gunn. Just sack him. What are they doing? Just sack him now. I don't understand.
I'm up for giving him a chance. But kind of keeping it on track here in terms of the video game, I'm quite split about this. Because if you're taking it that, yes, it has to be into the mainline canon, DCEU, whatever they call it, right? Then that is severely limiting. I think anybody who's making a video game would have a fucking nightmare. Because you've only got a core select group of characters. Are you allowed to bring in somebody else? This Rose Gallery, they haven't been introduced yet. Can I bring that person in as a side boss? It opens and then closes so many different doors because you're built under the structure that's already there. And how much can you expand that without stepping the line, right? And that's the issue. However, if they just said, oh yeah, they're all connected, but that's just a different multiverse. Oh. Well, then it's not a problem. You know, the same way that like Marvel's Spider-Man, Marvel could say, yeah, it's canon. It's canon to Spider-Man, but it's just, instead of being 616, that's Earth 735. Oh. So it doesn't matter, you know? So ultimately, that universe is a totally separate thing, but it's part of the larger Marvel multiverse. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on that, really. But yeah, I think this is a dumb thing to come out with and say. When really, does it really matter? No. But we're all pretty much in agreement on this, which is quite an interesting thing. I didn't know somebody would come out of this from left side and say, oh, I think this is a brilliant idea to have us all synced up. Oh, baby, give it to me, James Gunn. But no, looks like you guys are all seeing the light of reason today. Phil, before we mix it up and my rotation for the final one goes across to Mr. Spence Davis, character that I want from you. Nice, easy one. You're on about Smithers, and we never got to hear it. So I want to hear your impression of Smithers, please.
So the only, I suppose, quote that sticks out in my mind with Wayland and Mr. Burns is when I think they're booing Mr. Burns or something, and they're all booing. He's made some bad decision or something. I think it's in kind of Congress, or they've gone to Mayor Quimby's and he's taken over, and they're all booing Mr. Burns. And he asks Wayland, he's like, are they booing me or are they saying boo Earns? And he was like, they're saying boo Earns. And one guy's like, it was me, or like Hans Moleman or something like that. Maybe I miss remembering this somehow, but yeah, he's got a relatively high voice, so I'll just go Monty. Quick news. We're talking about Beyond Good and Evil, and guys, I'm here to tell you it's still in development. Very, very early development, so the bets are on which is going to come out first, Abandoned or Beyond Good and Evil. Now guys, have you got any idea? Because I'm in the dark with this one.
I think that bet is probably the hardest bet of all time. Which one will we see? I think that we're going to continue to hear about both of these games for forever, and then all of a sudden, just like a leaky tap, it would just stop. Where the water companies just cut it off, and that's it, and it'll be gone. And who knows? I think we'll see it a little bit more next year. Talked about anyway. Won't see it talked about next year, and then we'll never hear about it again. And that's the same for both of these, honestly. I think so anyway.
I mean, I have to disagree. I think there's an easy winner for this, and it's got to be Beyond Good and Evil. I mean, Abandoned literally is Abandoned. When was the last time you heard anything about it? I still have the app downloaded on my PS5. The app.
Do you?
Yeah, I still have it.
You still got it?
It was like 300 meg. There's no reason to delete it. I got a terabyte SSD in there.
When was the last time you booted it up?
Oh, ages ago. Ages ago.
What if it's full of content but nobody knows? How sick would that be?
I'll let you know after. Okay, I'll do it during the break. But I think the easy choice is Beyond Good and Evil. There's no way Abandoned. When was the last time they tweeted anything? We haven't heard anything from this game in probably at least a year. It's been ages. They released their own app to give you information and then provided no information. We got a 14-second clip of someone walking on a plank of wood. That is it. Abandoned is never coming out. I don't think they're ever going to show anything more. I think that dev team is gone. They've disbanded. We're never hearing about it. Beyond Good and Evil, we'll at least hear about it in another 4 years. And then in another 28 years, we'll get a demo. And that is it. And then they'll never release the game. But we'll have more of that than we do of Abandoned.
Let's move this on.
Yeah. Well, I suppose this is the weird thing now. You're out of this now, Phil. You're done. So this is now between me and Spencer for the last ones, and it's supposed to rotate anyway. So I guess I would be at this point. You would have been passing this to me, so I'm going to just pass this over to Spence, and then Spence can pass me the last one. I guess that makes sense on some kind of weird universe. Spencer?
Well, I've still got to challenge someone, haven't I?
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't really trust you after that Smithers job that you did on Spencer. I kind of don't trust you at all.
All my stuff has been very easy and very quotable.
Go on then. Chuck it to whoever you want to chuck it to, I guess.
Well, I was going to come back to you and give you Clancy Wiggum.
Okay, here we go. I think you got to do the full thing with him. All right, buck him. Oh my god, this sounds so much worse in reality than it does in my head. All right, boys, buck him. Take him down. I got no quotes for him. I don't know, other than he's like, hey, ah! Like just like some little scream whenever something's going wrong or whatever. But yeah, sorry, Ralphie. Oh yeah, I don't know. I can't get that. That's like Bugs Bunny. I'm never gonna get that. That's like a mythical beast. Right. So my last bit of quick news for you guys tonight is about the China Hero project. Now this is something that must have completely slipped by me because I'd never even heard of this before, and I've already experienced games from this project. So what is that? Well, the PlayStation China project is basically a funding program for development studios in China that PlayStation want to work with. So these are kind of like more up-and-coming studios, or studios that haven't really put anything out yet before. Now, phases 1 and 2 of this have already supported a total of 17 games, 7 of which are out, including a game that me and Phil really enjoyed from last year, which is Fist, Forged in Shadow Touch. That was part of this, this entire thing. Amazing game. And the reason why this has all come about was originally PlayStation were working with MiHoYo, which is the studio that put out what's that game that really weeby game, Genshin Impact. That's it. They were working with they were working with the studio to be able to put Genshin Impact out. And obviously that game went on to become an absolutely global powerhouse. So this is like an untapped market that they really want to get in with the Chinese audience, which historically have never been able to purchase consoles and things like that. So that's the reason for this. So they can try and start getting these and get them out the door. Now, each of the titles, and this is the reason for the news, moving into phase 3, they're doing a further 10 games in this. So bigger than the last two, than each of the last 2 phases. And these games are going to be different stages, different sizes, with some that are just going to get the money and some that are going to get the support of PlayStation Studios behind them. You know, with like XDev working with them or Santa Monica, whoever, to really just try and help these studios along and give them some first-party support. Now, in terms of the investment that each of these studios are getting, each of these games, they're getting 1 million Chinese yuan, which is equal to £115,000. So quite a big investment, really. If you think across 10 different games, that's a good million odd that you're chucking out there into the wind and hoping to make something from it. So I'm sure that these different studios are going to be something that we need to keep an eye on going forward. And if we get such greats as Fist out of this, hell yeah. This is something I'm going to keep a close eye on. And when we see more, I'll let you all know. Right then, Spence. So for the last one of the night, you've been having the family. And you've been having quite an easy time with it. But I'm going to give you someone that's definitely quotable. Someone that I'm surprised hasn't come up yet. You've had Smithers. I want to hear Mr. Burns.
Smithers? Oh, that doesn't sound like him at all. Oh my god. Okay. Smithers, fetch me my toast. I don't know. Fuck. Quick news. It's Burns versus Ross. He's Mr. Burns. Alright, quick news. The PlayStation Plus games for the month of December 2022 have been confirmed, and they are as follows. Divine Knockout Founders Edition for PS4 and PS5. Biomutant for PS4, PS5, and the big one on the list, Mass Effect Legendary Edition for the PS4. So even though it's not a PS5 title, it's still definitely the biggest game there. Now, boys, have you played any of these 3 games, or are you excited that they come into us this month? What are your thoughts? Davey, passing it over to you.
Do you know what? I think I was already saying to you in the car on the way up to Phil's when we recorded the last episode, actually. I was saying that the game that's like a black hole in my gaming library, and I feel really guilty about it, like as if I know I've missed out, is the Mass Effect trilogy. And I was saying that I wish I had time to play them. And I said to you in the car 2 weeks ago that I'm going to buy these games, and I'm going to make sure that the next drought we have, I'm going to blast through them. And I can always say to myself that I'll do them as a review on YouTube or something to try and make sure that I sweeten the pie for why I spent, collectively like 210 odd hours or even more in these 3 games. But that's it. That's my goal. For next year, I will have these done. Not platinumed or anything, but I'll play them through and I'll experience it, because literally as it stands, I love space. Like, I get a fucking rock on for space. I love it. And this is a space RPG. It's like singing it for me. This is something that's renowned as being one of the best gaming trilogies of all time. And I've never even remotely played one. I've got to do it. And getting it for free on PS Plus, hell fucking yes. So in for this. It's a great, great month for me. The other 2 games, don't really care about, if I'm honest with you. The one looks like a shit version of Smash, like some kind of like really shit platform fighter. And the other one, I can't even remember what it is. I've already forgotten.
Biomutant, mate.
Oh yeah, no, Biomutant's like. Remember when that game came out? People were like, "Have you seen Biomutant?" And I was like, "Yes, I have," and no, I'm not buying it. So it looks like one of those games that you'd have to be really fucking desperate to play. It was for some reason hyped up on its release, even though it didn't look like anything special. So yeah, I'm not really going to waste my time on that. I've already made my decision on it, and my time is going Mass Effect. I don't know what you think about this one though, Phil.
Well, what more is there to say? I think you've covered off all the games, really, and I sort of stand with you with a lot of your opinions. If you like, I do echo your thoughts here, but I am quite surprised about your decision to cast Divine Knockout aside, because you boys are Smash boys. You love to Smash, and this is a platform fighter, and it's on PlayStation. I don't understand why you've got so much anger towards this game, Davey.
Time. It's time, mate. And to be real, with a platform fighter, it's got a hard job because when you've played Smash, you don't really want to play any of the others. And even something as great as, say, Multiverses, right, which is really fun, really, really enjoyable, for some reason, I haven't gone back. Whereas even every now and again, I'll get a random urge just like, should you take the Switch from your son's bedroom and set it up and just have a few games? And I get that urge every now and again, thinking, I wonder if I'd be any good or not. Whereas I never get the urge to install Multiverses. Literally never. I think that's the issue with platform fighters. It's got to compete with the best.
How about you, Spence? Are you diving into Divine Knockout for a couple of games, or you just been in that one straight off?
I mean, as much as I agree with Davey, whereas once you've played Smash, nothing else really competes, because it is just a higher echelon of that genre. It's a free game, and you can play it with the boys. And I know our friend of the show, Willard, messaged us in our group chat about it, saying when we all playing this. I think it will be a fun game for about 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And I think we'll have a great... I think we'll play it. I think we'll play the game. And then that's it, uninstalled, never to be touched again. As for the other games, Biomutant, my friend Lloyd, he put like 60 hours within like 3 days. Or 3 days, probably within like 5 days in that game. And he played it for maybe like 2 months straight. Put hours in every day. And he loved it. Absolutely loved it. Does that make me want to play it? No, because I've seen it. And it doesn't look good. I'll play anything else instead. And Mass Effect, similar to you, Davey, it's a game that I kind of owe it to myself to experience. But I don't have the time. I can't be asked. I don't have the time. We're getting fantastic Sony exclusives all the time. I still haven't finished God of War. Callisto's out tomorrow, or in 1.5 hours. Callisto's out from time of recording. No, I am not playing any of these games. Great month. I think it's a good month for other people. For me, absolutely not.
Talking about running out of time, we have run out of time on Quick News, and we have done all the impressions. It was a fabulous round of impressions from The Simpsons. But David did bring in a new rule, and we do get to omit one of each of your impressions. You guys did 3, I did 2, so I got to keep both of mine. So Spence, I'm going to throw it over to you first. Which one of those, and I'm giving you no clues, which one do you want to strike off? So you did Homer, you moved and flip-flopped from Smithers to Marge Simpson, and then you finished off with Monty Burns, Mr. Burns. So which one do you want to strike off?
I'll get rid of Burns, just because at least what I did with Homer, he actually says it.
Okay, moving on to Davey. Which one are you striking off? You had Apu Nahasapima Pedalon, you had Colonel Krostowski the Clown, and you had Clancy Wiggum. Which one are you going for?
Easy Wiggum.
You getting rid of Wiggum?
Bidding off Wiggum. That thing was an act against God, yeah. I would have voted for me on that. So I'm glad that's gone. This has actually helped me.
Okay. Right, so here we go. I'm going to throw it back to you, Spence, now. So I want your favourite of tonight. So Davies, Apu or Krusty, or my Barney or Smithers. Which one was your favourite?
I've already forgot who Barney even is.
He's the drunk in the bar.
I think... Oh, yeah, I recall. I remember. I think just because it was funny. I don't really have a gauge for how good these impressions are. So I don't even know. But because it was funny, I'm going to have to give it to Davies Krusty the Clown. And that's it. I don't know if it was good. I don't know.
Not really, mate.
No.
I don't think any of them really are that good, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't think anyone killed it. No one killed it. But it was all right.
one pointless point to you, Davey. What are you going to go for your favourite? So you either had Spencer's Homer, or his Marge, or my Barney, or my Smithers. Which one was your favourite of tonight?
My favourite, and it was only because it was actually semi there, and I didn't expect it to be, was Marge. Was Spencer's Marge, because it was just a little bit sexy, and it was just like,
It was
like
a
you
little
guys
bit
were saying
sexy,
at the time.
weird, wasn't it?
It was, but I quite liked it. I was like, oh yeah, it kind of got the gravelly voice, the gravelly part of the voice right. So yeah, I appreciated that. I thought it was a good effort.
Fair play. 1-1 on pointless points. And for me, I'm going to go for your Apu, Davey. I thought yours was the best of tonight, but it could have got better if it was the actual thing he says.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember. It's
So
been a
you
while
missed-
since I
He
watched
says,
The
doesn't he
Simpsons.
say? He says, "Thank you, come
Yeah,
again."
you missed out. Thank you.
Oh,
come
of course
again.
he
That's his
does.
famous line. right?
Yeah, of course he does.
But
yeah.
your accent
Yeah,
was
of course
very
he does.
I knew
good,
that
and
one,
it
for
came
sure.
across correctly. It could have gone terribly, but your Apu was very, very good. So another pointless point for you there, Davey.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I'll enjoy those points that mean nothing. Thanks, guys.
Now on to the points that do mean something. Okay, so this is when we punch down. And I'm getting worried about this one. So Spencer, where are you going to go? What was your least favourite? So you've got Davey's Krusty the Clown, Davey's Apu, my Barney, or my Smithers. Which was your worst?
I'm gonna have to go for the Smithers. My apologies,
It's all right.
but so I'm gonna have to go. I don't know. I don't know, mate. I don't even know.
Okay, I'll take the L on that one. Davey, coming over to yourself. So you've got my Barney, my Smithers, or Spencer's Homer, or his Marge.
This is really tricky. Like really, really tricky. I might have to ask Alexa on this, because I'm actually, for the first time ever, I'm stuck. Because Spencer's Homer was awful. It's like literally one of the most popular characters of all time. Like there was no excuse. There was nothing. There was no like pretending to choke Bart out. There was literally nothing. It was awful. But the art of deception from Mr. Hoy trying to get Smithers out of there and pass it on to Spence is like a new level of low. So low. And then when challenged it himself was diabolically bad. So it's like I'm kind of torn between the two. The one you should know and you don't, and it's bad, and the other was underhanded. And as much as we like punching down, it was scummy, and it was put out there, and it shines a massive light on it. So the first time we've ever had this kind of level of deceit on our podcast, and I took that very seriously. But I also can't stand a bad impression. So I'm going to go over to Alexa and she can decide my vote. Phil, you're going to be 1, Spence 2. Okay? Alexa, choose 1 or 2.
Here's a number between 1 and 2. It's 1.
So I win.
Phil,
Sorry, Spence. You take the L on that one.
you do, mate. Sorry.
It is what it is. To be fair, understandable.
Well, guys, you've left it up to me, and I can't really vote for myself. So I either set it up so it's a draw, which would be good. Do we all get a shot if it's a draw?
I don't get one.
Well, you would if I voted one of yours to be terrible. Spencer gets an L, I've got an L, and you've got an L. So that's a shot each. And I think that's the only fair way to do it. Especially the way Davey really scummed me out, didn't he? And put me down for Smithers. I thought my Smithers was all right. I even came up with a relatively close quote to the episode. So yeah,
He doesn't have a
in
high
your face,
voice.
Davey. He does, compared to everybody else.
Does not. No.
Spencer
Quite
didn't know
Jerome-y.
anything apart from dough.
You gave it to him. You
didn't know. Thank you, come again. Your Krusty
No,
the
that's
Clown was
true.
terrible.
That's true.
I'm giving you the L. Right, we're having a shot each on this one. Davey, your Krusty the Clown, that was my worst of the night. I can't vote for myself anyway. Mine were all terrible, to be fair. The 2 that I got given, how'd you quote either of those? So on this one, Davey, hey, Krusty the Clown, you're taking the L. So that's a shot all round for the big blowout.
There it is. Add it to the dock.
Stop. Topic time.
So, lads and listeners, we have finally reached the topic. I say finally, it's actually been quite a quick show, I think. But we're here, we've arrived, and today we will be discussing the Game Awards. What a shock. But not who we think's going to win, not who's been nominated. We're going to talk about what they might show. Oh, that's always everyone's favourite bit of the Game Awards, isn't it, lads? Everyone loves that. Do you know they showed... Oh, they didn't actually. Elden Ring? Was Elden Ring Summer Games Fest, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I think one of the original announcement in the Game Awards, and then we saw more at Summer Game Fest, and then I can't remember. Who knows? Seemed like fucking ages ago.
Yeah,
Old game.
Yeah, I mean, sure, okay. It does feel like it's been a long time.
Feels like ages.
But, yeah, we are going to discuss what we think is going to be shown. It's everyone's favourite part of the show. I'm looking forward to it. And as usual, as per the usual, we've gone our normal route of picking a safe, a possible, and a crazy, and hopefully some backups, because there might be some crossing happening. Who knows? There's some confirmed games ahead of time, like Tekken 8 and Final Fantasy 16. We won't be adding those into the list, because that's just a gimme. That's a bit of a cheese. We won't be doing that. So, on to our safes, boys. I'm going to look at you both. Ooh. Phil did a little, ooh, I'll pass it to Phil. Phil, what is your safe for the Game Awards?
Well, thank you, Spence, for coming to me first, because I think it's something that we'll probably all pick, or we all want. And this is to see something more from Insomniac. Okay, so Spider-Man and Wolverine, we haven't heard a lot for a while. And Marvel is on an all-time high at the moment after the success of Wakanda Forever. So it's about time that we get a little bit of an update, a little bit of a sprinkling of something about Spider-Man or Wolverine. I've spread the net pretty big there, so it could be either game. Are you allowing me? I'm seeing a lot of frowns there.
No. Absolutely not. Safe, it should be watertight. We should know what we're seeing in terms of, is it gameplay? Is it just a trailer? Is it a mention? It's got to be specific at this point. And to scattershot it with 2 games and once on a safe and nothing else, I'm not having this bollocks straight off the off, Phil. Come in strong, please. I want to know exactly what's being shown. What are they going through? What game is it, please?
He's on my case tonight, isn't he?
He hates
Oh,
you,
What
mate.
happened
He
on,
hates
I'm
you.
what
not
happened on
having
my
this.
birthday? Honestly, I thought you were my mate. Come on.
Oh,
All right,
Sick of
fine. If I have
sick
to put
of
my
this
name,
gaming.
if I have to put my neck on the line, out of the 2, I think we're more likely to see information on Spider-Man, and I would like to see a trailer. Let's say that Insomniac trailer for the new Spider-Man. That would be my safe.
You think you'll get a date? No.
No, definitely not. No.
Fair enough. Not a terrible choice. Not a bad choice at all. Davey, coming across to you, what would your safe be?
The reason why I've been so harsh on it is because he stole mine. I was definitely going to have this exact thing. Mine was going to be a bit different. I was going to say gameplay. I was going to say gameplay shown with a release date in terms of like which quarter. So summer 2023 was going to be my prediction. But good nonetheless, Phil. Really appreciate that. Mine, I might as well steal it. I'm sorry, Spence. I'm really sorry about this. Mine is Elden Ring DLC for the safe.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So I think you're going to show Elden Ring DLC. And in terms of release date, I think they are going to mention release date in this. In terms of a release quarter, but nothing more than that. So I hope that's specific enough. Anyone got any pushback, or you happy with that?
No pushback. I'm just trying to will it into existence, mate. That is a hell of a choice and something I would absolutely love to see at the Game Awards. For me, though, boys, my safe, I actually didn't have either of your choices, which I know, I'm a big Elden Ring guy.
Wild.
I know, yeah. Not there. I was thinking of games, no DLC, nothing like that. So what I think is quite safe, I might be wrong, I think they're going to show gameplay for Dead Island 2 with a release date, or at least quarter.
Do we get a collector's edition?
I imagine we will, but I don't think they'll show it. And it won't be as good as that beautiful Riptide one you have, mate.
Okay, hypothetically,
Definitely not.
if they were going to do one, though, what would it be? Because we've already got that. Where'd you go next? Is it the behind?
The male equivalent.
The male
all it is-
equivalent? Do you
I
think it's
reckon
going to be as
it's a-
popular?
I reckon what it is, it's the torso, same as that, but just absolutely ripped, like shredded wheat on there. So you got like even the veins on like the abs and stuff, where it's got like the 8 ab thing going on. I think it's definitely one of those situations. With maybe
And Union Jack boxer shorts?
Union Jack boxer shorts, and what you'd have is you've got a bit of tuft of chest hair, right? But it's actually like, instead of it being drawn on, it's like a textured, like it is like a little bit of wool or something they've put on, so you could run your fingers through the chest. Yeah, something minging.
That is
It's got to be
disgusting.
something minging, right? It's got to be
that is
something
minging.
minging.
Man.
Yeah.
Could you remove the
That's what I'd
shorts
say.
and wear them yourself? Are we going
No,
that
no,
far?
it's not. No, you can't do that. But you can run your fingers through that chest hair whenever you fancy it, and I think that's what it would be.
Disgusting.
Spencer does not like.
And
that
you're not
at
getting
all.
extra points if that happens, Davey, because that is horrible.
No.
That's a horrible thought.
No, I don't want to will that into existence.
No, I'll tell you what, if they show that collector's edition and it's a fella with fur on his chest, I will drink a shot. I'll do a shot for you, mate. 100%. There's no way that's happening. Realistically, in vogue at the minute is weapons. You'll get a weapon. It might be like a bat with screws in it, something like that. Although, probably shouldn't sell that. Who knows? Who knows? Possibles, boys. On to our possibles. A bit risky and safe, but not as crazy as crazy. Phil, seeing as I started with you, coming across to you again, what is your possible?
You are being very kind to me tonight, Spencer, so I thank you very much for that one. So my possible is that we're going to find out some more information why Kojima has been blue balling us for so long with the questions. Who am I? Where am I? I think we're going to get an overdose reveal. I think we're going to get a cinematic trailer for Kojima's next project. And that's my possible. And my fingers are so tightly crossed that they're turning blue, the same as my balls every time he posts on Twitter.
That's a great shout, to be honest, Phil. That's a really, really good one. Yeah, that's one of those things. I know we only spoke about the news for this a couple of episodes ago, but I kind of forgotten about that. Not gonna lie, I totally hadn't even thought about it. I think that's a brilliant one. I could probably see that happening. Although, just to put it out there, every time I think it's a dead cert, it never happens. So you're probably gonna end up getting something absolutely insane, because it looks like, according to this, we're not gonna be shouting anything too wild here in this section.
That's crazy. I thought for sure that might have been on your list as well, Davey, but glad to hear it's not. Seeing as that is the case, Davey, what is your possible?
It's kind of related to Kojima, but it's not. So mine is what we talked about on the episode, I think might have been, not last episode, the episode before, and that is Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. I think it actually does exist. I think it's going to be shown. And I don't know if they tie it in with Kojima or not. But because it's a possible, it's not safe, I don't have to go into that level. So all I'm going to say is Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake announced. Trailer show. Done.
Just putting it out there, if it isn't Metal Gear Solid 3 and it's a different Metal Gear that they start with, fingers crossed, please,
Oh,
and
God,
they've heard my
the dream.
prayers,
The dream.
then I don't think you get that right. You have specified Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, I have specified it. If we were going into our crazies, that's when you could be loose as fuck with it, because it would be off the wall. You know, you kind of can be a bit loose. But with the rumors that are around here with MGS3 at the moment, I feel I have to tie it down. So yeah, I completely agree with that. I wouldn't get it on MGS1, even though that would be the best news ever. Can you imagine the episode would have after having that news? It'd be like a 5-hour episode because we're just gushing there.
We'd probably have shots to celebrate. So enforce shots on ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so good.
I wouldn't
Best
be on
news
that
ever.
app.
It would just be a me and Davey app.
It would, yeah, it would.
Might as well unplug my mic. I wouldn't get a word in edgewise.
Well, speaking of getting an edge in... Oh, an edge in. I'm edging over.
Homie.
Well, speaking of getting a word in edgeways, Spence, what's your possible?
Right, I had two for this because I thought one of you might mention the one and you haven't. So I'm going to say both. And that's a reason. They don't both count. I'm going to preface this by saying initially I was going to have Dead Space Remake. But I don't want to see that. I actually don't even want to see it.
Why is that going into your possible when that is a full-on safe predict? That's like the safest prediction ever. It's coming out in January.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be there. 100% going to be there.
100%. Yeah, well, possibly. Yeah.
Shut up.
Playing the
Shut up.
numbers.
There's no way. I'm not allowing it. No way.
Yeah, I'm not going with that. I'm not going with that because I don't want to see it. I'm sticking with my heart. I don't want to see it because I know it's going to be sick. I want to go in blind. I don't want to see it. I saw the initial reveal. You know. I never want to see anything else. That's the way it goes for me. So what I will put as my possible is that they'll show gameplay. Probably not a release date. I'll just say gameplay, or at least like a teaser of gameplay of Alan Wake 2. And that's going to be my possible.
Oh, that's big. That's a big one. I hadn't even thought about that. That's a big one. When was it announced? Was that back at the Game Awards last year, or was that at the Summer Game Fest? I can't remember now. I don't know if you want to do a quick Google check on this one. But I know it's definitely a Jeff Keighley event. I don't have a fucking clue. Nothing else to do. So that's all ask Google.
Game Awards.
It was last year's Game
Game
Awards.
Awards last year. Yeah.
Right. It would make
We've
sense.
been dark ever since.
It's a good one. That is a strong one. Gotta say, that's a good one. Impressed by that one. Both of you coming in with these really, really strong ones, I think. I think this is probably the safest possible round we've had so far, I think. But then again, I always think that. And we never get them. So who knows?
Yeah.
None of us are getting any of these right.
No.
Like looking at, the data and looking at previous shows, our predictions aren't doing that well if we look at them as a whole. We've got one or two right, but it's a bit of a shotgun effect. We fire enough pellets, we're going to hit something, aren't we?
Precisely that.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving into our crazy. Phil, I'm not going to come to you this time. Gave it to you first two times. I'm going to pass it over to Davey to start. Davey, mate, what is your crazy?
You know. You already know what it is. I am bound with this prediction until I will it into reality. I will be on my deathbed and they will ask for what is my last meal, and I will say this. I want Resistance shown in any capacity that could be talked about. Like in terms of like saying there's a new game in the works. Even if there's no title screen, even if it's in, anything Resistance that happens with this, that's me. And I swear, I know it's not going to happen, but Sony, I can do this all day. I can keep going for this and binning off my crazy every time until you just say, for God's sake, just put the remaster out for him. At least we got one sale. And don't put Bluepoint on it either. They'll just put some random studio. I'm more than happy. Put one of these Chinese teams on it. Chuck them $1 million yuan. Say, please just spruce these up a bit, do you mind? And they'll be like, sure, okay. I'll be over the moon. I'll be fucking loving it. And if it's shit, it's shit. But at least I've seen it again, That's where I'm coming down with this, guys.
Never would have guessed it would have been Resistance. Never, mate. Not in a million years. Of course it was going to be fucking Resistance. I didn't think it would be, and I don't know why. Stupid of me on my part. Phil, mate, coming across to you, what is your crazy?
Well, Spencer, I want Hideo Kojima up on stage for as long as I can. So if he's up there to talk about the Overdose reveal, and he's up there in part to talk about Metal Gear Solid 1 being remade, or 3, who knows what he's going to be doing. I also want him to mention, in some capacity, Death Stranding 2. Anything. If Davey's allowed to have anything to do with Resistance, I'm having anything to do with Death Stranding 2. So if Sam Porter Bridges raises his eyebrow or puts a little thumb up during anything, that's a point.
That's fine by me. I think it's this time of year, right now, 2022. I can't see it, but who knows? What would happen? How would this work in terms of, like we always see some random bollocks, Like in Metal Gear Solid 5, for example, it was like Moby Dick Studios presents, and that was eventually revealed as the Phantom Pain Metal Gear Solid, right? If we see some kind of trailer and it turns out that down the line that's Death Stranding 2, do you get retroactive points, or is it just because it's not actually physically mentioned?
Retroactive, 100%.
I think so as well. Yeah.
The Kojimas are quite a
100%.
safe bet then. That's not a bad. You're playing a good game on that one.
Is he confirmed to be there though? I was a bit nervous about that. That was the only thing, because he's usually at these sort of events, isn't he? Sometimes in person, sometimes by video, but he always has some sort of presence, doesn't he? At the Game
Jeff
Awards.
are boys.
Yeah, they're tight, aren't they? He's always on his podcast as well, isn't he? The Brain Structure podcast, which I've mentioned a couple of times. So once you finish this, maybe have a listen to his as well. You know, throw him a couple of quid. Why not?
Don't. We're the only podcast you need. Don't. But yeah, fair enough, Phil, mate. Strong shout. You're coming in with some sick suggestions. My crazy boys, and I think crazier than Death Stranding 2, not as crazy as Resistance, as always. I'm going to go with Pragmata. Do you boys remember that? I brought it up every now and then. We've still not heard anything about it.
Is that the Capcom one with the astronaut, and you see like that
Yes.
kind of moon and that girl or whatever?
Yeah, it's that.
Why do you think that? What do you think is dead or something with Pragmata? Didn't they show something with this a little while ago?
No,
Did they not? Is
No.
it nothing since that announcement?
I don't think so. I mean, it's going to be my crazy every time, because eventually, unless it's dead, eventually they're going to have to show it at
So you're
something.
gonna get.
It's
points.
just always there. Yeah, it's the same kind of plan you have with Resistance, except this is a game that's actually been announced. And we just haven't seen it since the launch of the PS5.
The only thing that goes against you, right, is that, say for example, we're on the run up to next year's Game Awards or Summer Game Fest, and you're thinking, right, got my crazy locked in, and then we start getting rumors beforehand. Capcom about to show Pragmata. There's no way we'd allow it anywhere past safe, right? So you're playing a dicey game with it. So I'll allow it. I think it's fine, because this is going to come out of left field at this conference. I don't think it's quite on the same level as mine and Phil's. So I don't know if Phil wants to downgrade it. I think it's one that, as we know, does exist, which is normally outside of the realm for crazies. But I'll leave this in Phil's hands.
Well, Spence has been very nice to me tonight, so I'm inclined to let it fly. Why not? Let's roll the dice.
I was going to say, boys, I actually agree with you that it's not quite as crazy as yours. So seeing as yours is in any kind of aspect, it can be shown. Mine, I want gameplay.
Wow.
We're going specific with it. Nice.
Specific. I'm not saying a date, because let's be honest, they're busy with Street Fighter and the game that can't be mentioned and other things. So I'm just going to say gameplay. It might be like 4 seconds of gameplay inside of a trailer that they show. That will count. So if there's at least a frame of gameplay in a trailer shown,
Okay.
then it counts. It counts.
Okay. Deal.
I'm happy with that.
And the way it works, listener, if this is your first time tuning in to A Safe Possible Crazy, when these come in and we see the Game Awards, which are next week, so you'll get this episode day before the Game Awards, I think. The way it works is, if they come in, if it's a safe, that's equal to 1 shot that you get to hand out. Possible is 3, I believe. And then crazy is 5. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Pretty sure we upped it from the last time. But
Wow.
you're shaking your head.
They are big stakes. I'm not sure is that crazy. I
Yeah,
thought it was
that's a
1,
bit
2,
too
3
mad.
rather than 1, 3, 5.
1, 2, 3.
I'm
I'm
sure
sure
that
that we buffed
will
them.
not.
I'm sure that we buffed them.
We won't survive the blowout if we go that heavy. We're already sitting on like 7 shots each, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
yes.
quite a lot. I think what happened is the last time we did it with Lewis, Potato Chief, and I think that he had some like bullshit one in like a possible, whereas like some of us had come in on something else, and I think that's when we were talking about changing the scoring structure. But I could be making it up. I could just be making it up because I'm confident in my crazy, of course, and I want to get those 5 shots to hand out. But all right, so it's 1, 2, and 3. You know how it works
1, 2,
anyway.
3.
Listener,
I
that's
think
fine.
we can agree with
1,
that.
2, and 3.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
because none of us went for any of our backups, do you want to like do honourable mentions? Because it's been relatively quick, hasn't it?
I would love an honourable mention. I would absolutely love an honourable mention.
It doesn't count for anything. If it comes up, it just comes up. It's just brownie points. It's like winning on quick news. If you do a good impression, doesn't matter.
Keep that in mind. I'll pass it over. Phil, seeing as this was your little brainstorm, your little idea, you birthed this into existence. I'll come to you first. What is your backup and your honourable mention?
Well, my little baby that I've been slowly rocking in the background, that I'm going to release now to the two fathers that didn't know about this child, was Stray DLC. That was my possible crazy, purely because Stray has been so well received, and you guys champion it so damn hard. You've even forced me now to own the game. I haven't played it yet. I will play it. But it would surprise me if this type of game doesn't get any follow-up. And if there is DLC, I haven't played the story. I don't know if it lends itself to DLC, but this would be the time, I think, for them to capitalize on their success. I think if they waited any longer, people would forget about it. It's at the highest height it's ever going to be, purely because it's nominated so heavily throughout the Game Awards. So if they were going to do DLC, I think this would be the right time.
I mean, I hate to disagree with you, mate, but I really don't think it lends itself to DLC. I could imagine, not DLC, but I could really imagine them releasing an update for the game. So like maybe new features. You could customize your cat. You could customize the robots in the environment or something like that. DLC,
I didn't say story DLC, did I? It could be any DLC.
Well, if it's DLC to let you customize the cat, it's a rip-off. I mean, I don't know, mate. Like, DLC it would be a crazy for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's definitely a crazy. I think like a Stray 2 they could do. Like the same gameplay is fantastic. It doesn't have to be in the city that it is. So there's an option there to be able to see more and to do more. I don't see it this soon. They're a small team, even if they're being published by a decently respected publisher in Annapurna. They're not going to work at that kind of pace. To be able to get this something out. It only came out a couple of months ago. It came out in like June, right? No, it didn't. When did it come out? Like July, August, something like that. Not long ago. So they're not going to be able to push out a number 2 out the door or anything like that.
Came out in July.
July
of this year. 19th of July was the release date for Stray.
Seems like only yesterday, that does. How weird's that? Elden Ring seems like forever ago, but July seems like the other day. Very strange. Very, very strange. What about yourself, Spence? What games have you got on the backup?
Well, I had 2 backups. I mean, I had one for Possible as well, but I kind of explained it being Dead Space Remake. But my safe backup was Hogwarts Legacy, which I didn't really want to even mention, because chances are it's going to be shown, and whatever they show I don't want to see, because different reason than usual. I just don't want to see the game. Don't fancy it, not for me. My other backup was for Crazy, and that was Starfield. I wonder if Xbox are ever going to release a game.
That's such a joke. It's definitely going to be there. 100% it's going to be there. To be fair, I know we love punching down on the Xbox. We absolutely love it. I do, personally. I personally really enjoy it. However, that game actually looks pretty decent. Like, seeing some stuff, I'm like, oh, they might have something here. I hope they do. Because it's getting embarrassing at this point. We're 10 years they haven't had a game up for Game of the Year. 10 years. Come on, guys. Sort it out. Get Starfield on there. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it runs. That's what we need to ask. It's Bethesda, innit? Hopefully it runs. Go from there.
And the beauty is, the Xbox Series S is ridiculously cheap at the moment as well. So it wouldn't be so much of a stretch if this game is absolutely amazing to purchase one. Because it's only a couple £100. It's really, really cheap. It's so much. It's cheaper than the PSVR 2 that you've just bought, Davey.
Yeah, it is way cheaper. Way
So
cheaper.
it's the PS5.
Yeah, ridiculous money, right? 200 odd quid, I think you can get one for now.
Yeah, really cheap. Really, really cheap. Well, my one, guys, when we're talking about backups, I got a couple for the table here. Most of them are in safe, so I'm just gonna whip through them. In fact, actually, all of them are in safe. I had Horizon Call of the Wild hands-on stage. So like where they come out with the headset on, they got all the gear, they go through like a full thing showing you what you can do, what you can't. So kind of like what they do at a blog post, but they're doing it there. I thought it'd be quite interesting. They love having this kinetic stuff at the Game Awards that takes forever as well. You know, like where they're getting the guy on, everyone clap for Roy while he comes out with it on a little trolley. Hey, take forever doing calibration. Everyone's losing the will to live because the show's already 6 hours long. You know, I can see that happening.
And they're always so fake as well, aren't they? They're like, yeah,
Insane.
there's me driving this car, and it's not them. You can see they're pressing right and the car's turning left. It's just ridiculous. I don't know why they fake them. Well, I know why they fake them, because things can go wrong, obviously, and they want it to show at the best possible kind of version of the game, but it just does not come across well.
No. So I've put it in there. I kind of hope it doesn't happen, if I'm honest with you. But there you go. I put in the Street Fighter 6 date. We still don't know a date when it's coming up, so I put that in my safe. I think this is definitely the time. We've seen enough information now. We've got the second beta test that's happening it's happening in December. The live signups have gone up now, by the way. So for those that have Street Fighter 6 beta access already from the last beta, you get auto-enrolled into this beta, which is very lucky for you lucky bastards. And for the rest of us peasants who've never had it before, we got to re-sign up. So if you haven't done that, get on that, because that beta is around the corner. I can see this definitely happening. I think this is very, very safe. When do I think it's coming out, guys? I think we've had this discussion. I think we're all kind of going for Q1. So I think we're all going for around about between February and April, I think. I don't think anybody went further than that, but that was that one. And the only other one I had was for my backups, and that was Wolverine. That was, I think, that Wolverine...
there we go.
We'll get some information on Wolverine, yeah. I don't know about trailer, but information at least. I think it's so far
It'd be
out.
one hell of a show if we get all these, though, guys, wouldn't it?
Oh,
If we even get one or two of these predictions right, it's going to be incredible. It's the golden age of gaming at the moment, isn't it? It's just brilliant. There's so much to be excited about.
There is. And going into next year, you know, we look at what's coming up in next year. It's insane. Every single month has something going on. It's wild. I think next year is going to be the year. I think that we'll finish next year and we'll look back on it and think, oh my God, like this year seems stacked. I think this year, when we're talking about our Game of the Year contenders, apart from maybe a top 2, which I think would be quite easy to pin down on, outside of that, I think it's going to be a free-for-all. I think it's going to be really, really difficult. And I felt the same last year, whereas this year's been considerably better than last year. So maybe we'll feel like that next year as well. Hopefully it's just this continuing cycle where it's just getting better and better and better. But who knows?
We can dream. We can dream.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Episode 57, guys. It's in the bag, and it does feel like a bit of a shorter one today. Feels like we haven't had as much to go through. Maybe it's just the fact that being sober, not drinking as much, maybe we're actually just getting our points out there. Who knows?
And we've just come off a live episode as well, where there was a lot more prep, I suppose. We're back to, our bread and butter, which is recording online. This is what we've done for, 56 odd episodes now. We've only done the live one once, and I feel like that was well received. It is creeping up on the analytics. It's one of our most popular episodes. So if you haven't seen that one yet, guys, make sure you go back and just check that one out. And any feedback you've got, of course, is welcome. The show is yours, and we're looking to improve any way we can. And we do read your emails as much as we ignore any questions you do send in.
I still feel bad about that. I've actually got a couple of them that I've responded to the people, said I have read this. I will put this in next episode. And then we get to this point in the show and I think, I haven't included them again. It's happened again. Sorry, guys. But if you want to take control of the show, then do us a favor, write into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com, or reach out to us on the socials. Socials are all in the description of the podcast, so whether you're watching us on YouTube or on Spotify or anywhere else, there are socials there. Have a little look, give us a like, give us an ad, do what you need to do. And remember, if you want to be the homies, then all you have to do is put a like on the video and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Spotify or any other podcast service, a 5-star review goes a long way to be able to help us to grow our audience and find new people who haven't been enlightened by the sound of our voices.
And we've had some amazing feedback on Twitter as well, haven't we, recently? You know, people write into the show, and we always make sure to reply to every tweet that we get on Twitter. And the ones that are really praising us, the ones that we want to show off with, we're retweeting that because we're loving it. So thank you very much for the feedback that we've received recently.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. And we're still at that point in the show where every bit of feedback we do get, I think it's kind of being guys as well. Like, we don't get, much praise ever, do we? It's like you'll remember something. Someone will say like, "Oh, your hair looks good," and you'll remember that for like 20 years. It was sink in. You'll be like, "Yeah, that was the best day of my life."
Davey, you have never complimented me. So, little things. As soon as someone says something nice to you, it matters. It really does. So that one tweet has really, thanks. There's a tear
well
there.
Up a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you well up a little bit, don't you? Start blubbing a little.
Yeah, beautiful.
See, Laura, I am respected.
You do have fans.
I've got friends, Laura. Sherry, my true love. Right, let's move this on. Let's move this on, guys. We're bringing the show to an end. Thank you ever so much for all your time today. My name's Davey. I'm joined as always, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And I do love him really, Mr. Philip Hoy.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an amazing show, and I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks. I think I might be off on the next show, unfortunately, so I've only got one more show if we choose to do that before we round out the year. So that'll finish things off nicely for 2022.
What a crazy year. What a crazy time. And my brother from another mother, the sexy elf himself, Spencer. Pleasure.
Pleasure as always, mate. I'm not sure where this elf thing's come from. I'm not a massive fan of it. You can't even see my ears.
It's Christmassy, isn't it?
It's Christmassy, but why am I the elf? I know I'm
The
short.
elf on the shelf.
Yeah, you're the youngest, you're the helper, you're a little bit shorter than us. Elf.
Elf. Yeah, well, that aside, pleasure as always, boys. Always loved this show. Can't wait to do it again. I'm not going anywhere. So, reluctantly, me and Dave will probably have to carry on and do an ep without Phil, but just know we'll have you here in our hearts, mate.
Might be the best one. You never know. That'd be awkward.
Kick you off the show.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get on. If you want to be on the show, write into the email pswetrust@gmail.com. All you have to do is make sure that you've got ludicrous opinions on PS stars and other eccentric things that are there to help you. And that's the only
And a half-naked statue behind you, and you're in. These are the two things I bring to the show.
It is. We appreciate you for them. Take care, guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See ya.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See ya.